Hello, guys. If you're joining live right now, make sure you introduce yourself in the chat, please, and thank you. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the show now. Hello, my name is Asia, and welcome to My Thoughts No One Asks For, where I share my thoughts none of you asked for or probably even care about, but I'm going to share them any fucking way. I'm live on Twitch and TikTok today, so I'll be talking to both chats. But hi guys. It's episode I didn't say what episode it was. It's episode 39. 39. Next week will be episode 40 of My Thoughts No Ask For. 40 consistent weeks. Um I haven't had a guest on the show in a while. So I'm gonna see for the 40th episode if I could possibly get a guest. I'm just very picky with having people on my I'm very picky with collaborating. So I don't know. But I think it would be nice to have someone on for next episode. So if you have any suggestions or anyone you guys would like to see on stream with me for next episode, definitely let me know. If I don't find someone interesting enough, I might just, it'll be a solo episode. But yeah, everyone in the chat, let me know how your weekend was. I have a pretty interesting I had a pretty interesting weekend, but I kind of want to talk about some interesting stuff that happened to me today. So, um my weekend, it was a lot of, and I'll get more in depth about my weekend with the topics for today. But I had a graduation. My oldest niece graduated high school. So congratulations to her. It was a weird experience because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I remember when she was a baby and like she's grown and graduated high school. So that was really, really cool. My god sister gender reveal, literally grew up with her. We're like the same age. So it's like I remember when we used to be babies and we used to babysit her siblings, and I'm going and seeing them all grown. It's just weird. Like now I know how it feels when people used to see me as I was older and they knew me when I was a baby and they're like, oh my gosh, I remember, like I know how that feels now. I feel really old. So that was nice. I had a friend who just recently graduated college. So I had, celebrated her birthday dinner with her. So it's just a lot of celebrations, a weekend of celebrations, and it's just been really, really it's been making me really happy to see all of this. So congrats to anyone who's graduated, who has any reason to celebrate. Congratulations. I'm in such a good mood because it's been so much like uplifting other people, especially young black people. And it's so many like milestones that are happening right now. I'm just so glad that I get to celebrate with other people. So yeah. Love that. Also, Drake dropped. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But Drake dropped 3 fucking albums. So after I got off stream last week, I had streamed for like another hour, and then I had made sure that I got off in enough time to catch the live stream. I watched the live stream. I listened to the albums. I'm gonna just say I've been bumping Drake all weekend. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I've been bumping him all weekend. I'll get into it a little bit later, but yeah. So just lots of celebrations and bumping Drake. Honestly, that was the gist of my weekend. Honestly, um, but I guess I'm kind of gonna make this the first topic really quick, right? I want to talk about lucid dreaming. Anyone in the chat, have y'all ever lucid dreamed before? Anyone? Anyone ever had a lucid dream? I just want to know because I need to talk to you guys about what I experienced today. And I'm partially freaked out, but also like intrigued. You have Julia? Okay, cool. So you're perfect. You're joining at the right time right now. So I need your input right now. So today, today I had my first lucid dream. Now, I must note, I do sleep on my back quite often. Like, I wouldn't say every night, but even if I don't immediately fall asleep on my back, I definitely, if I'm as I'm tossing and turning, I at some point during the night I will be sleeping on my back, and I've never had a lucid dream. Um, so this morning I slept so good last night, but I got up this morning and I still felt pretty tired, so I just went back to sleep. And I noticed that my body, I felt tingles all over my body. So I definitely felt like something was happening, but I wasn't really scared. I was just very aware of it. And so however I was laying when I was laying down sleeping is how I felt myself, just like my body was tingling from head to toe. And then I could feel myself struggling to open my eyes. Hey Sterling. I could feel myself struggling to open my eyes. And I was like, okay, what's happening here? Like, I was so freaked out, but I was like, I'm aware of what's happening. So I could just feel myself like struggling to open my eyes. And then I opened my eyes. Now, unfortunately, I don't really remember that much from the first lucid dream because I had two today. I don't remember that much from the lucid dream, but I just do remember that I felt like there was some kind of connection by what I was being shown or told to my current life. Like I remember crying and feeling very emotional, but like good, like in a good way. Um I remember like seeing people coming through a door. I remember some kind of like it was some kind of setup where it was set up like almost like a classroom where there was a video on a screen or it was some kind of prompt. It was set up as if like it was some kind of like game or lesson. I don't fucking know. It was really, really weird. And again, I was very aware that I was dreaming. And I was talking to people and I felt like I knew who they were, but I wasn't quite sure. And like I said, I don't remember that many specifics, but I just remember whatever I seen or was being told, it felt it was very emotionally impactful for me. And I just remember being very emotional and still aware that this is a dream. And so then somehow I woke up. Then I woke up. Now when I woke up, I felt like I lost my mind. I was like, was that all in my head or was that like a real dream? I don't know what's happening here. Um and then I was just sitting there thinking to myself, like, I don't know. I was like, you know what? That was probably just all in my head. I'm just gonna go back to sleep. Now this time, I definitely was laying on my back. Because I was laying back on my back thinking, and then I fell asleep again. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go back to sleep. And so this time, it was the same process. My body started tingling. I was like, oh shit, this is happening again. Like, what the fuck? And mind you, I had never really done much research on lucid dreaming, so it didn't clock to me at this point that I was lucid dreaming. I just thought I was kind of going insane. So so at this point, I'm like, "Oh, this shit is happening again." And so again, it was a very similar setup. Now in this one, I remember seeing two people in particular that I know in real life. One of them I don't know her personally. I actually never met her. We're just like mutuals online. But another person I know him very well. And so I remember seeing them and touching them and grabbing them and be like, hey, like, I know y'all. What's up? And so the girl that I seen that I know in the dream, I was talking to her. I was like, so I'm aware that this is a dream. Like I know that I'm in a dream. This is happening again. It just happened before and now it's happening again. So I'm very much so aware this is a dream. I just don't know why this is happening. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And something was very loud to where I couldn't hear her that clearly. But she pretty much was just saying like, "Oh, there's just probably something that you need to know or some kind of lesson you're supposed to learn or whatever, or something you need to be aware of." Something to that effect. But we were like engaging in a very real conversation while I was very like aware that I was in this dream. So, I think there was more that happened, but I really don't fucking remember. I just vividly remember having that conversation, be like, girl, I don't know what's going on. And I wasn't like weirded out or freaked out. I was just kind of like chilling. And then I don't remember what happened, but something made me just say affirmations. It was like two affirmations. I don't remember exactly what they were, but naturally I just said like I am okay. I am this, I am something. I said it twice. Um and once I said those affirmations, I woke up. It's like those affirmations pulled me out of the dream and I wasn't trying to do it. I don't know why I said it. I just naturally said like affirmations. I said two sentences and I woke up. Um and then at this point I was like, what the fuck was that? And then I was like, went and did my Googles and I was like, oh, okay, so that's what a lucid dream is, right? And I had always thought that lucid dreams were could be a lot more scary, and I guess that they can, right? But so I didn't know what the fuck that was. I've never experienced that before. So, yeah, I really am curious to know what your first lucid dream was, if you guys have ever had one, because experiencing that for the first time is fucking trippy as fuck. Like, even if you weren't scared while you were in it, it does kind of like this is why I'm glad that there are names for things, because if there weren't, you would just think that you're a little bit like you're going nuts. But I'm not a person that usually has weird dreams often. Every once in a blue moon, but most of the time I can never remember my dreams. So now I'm noticing that I'm starting to have more like necessary dreams that I need to remember. So I'm kind of forcing myself to keep up with a dream journal and all this stuff, but it's so fucking trippy and it's very interesting. Like all the research I've done on it today is like very intriguing. So I'm not going to intentionally lucid dream anytime soon. Probably sometime next week. Or whenever I feel called to, because I did see that it is a form of like meditation, which that's why I'm intrigued by it. Because traditional forms of meditation, like just sitting and maybe playing some music or sitting in silence, is like very boring to me, and it's not something that I could commit to on a consistent basis. But something like lucid dreaming, I like the idea of it. It feels better to me, especially knowing that I was in control of the situation. Like I knew I was in a dream. I knew what was going on, and I wasn't really trying to control what was going on. I was really just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And I guess that whatever I seen, as soon as I felt like, okay, I wanted to wake up, that's when I just blurted out the affirmations and I just woke up. Um it was really that was just so odd. So I just can't believe that people have these on a consistent basis and like function properly, because what? It was so strange. But so yeah, that was my first lucid dream. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had a lucid dream. Please let me know what your first one was. Try to explain it in detail as much as possible. I barely remember mine in detail. I just know that it was very impactful for me. And I hate that I don't really remember that much of it. Um but I just know it definitely affected me in a lot of ways, and it was a very good experience. So, yeah. Anyways, so I wanted to also really quick before we really get into the actual topics for today, I wanted to quickly touch on affirmations, because when I said those affirmations and it pulled me out of my lucid dream, um, as I was just like doing some journaling and stuff today, I had realized how impactful affirmations are. Um, they're very strong, and I think probably one of the lessons I needed to learn from that second lucid dream, what's naturally me blurting out those affirmations that woke me up, was the showing me the true power of them, and how words are very important in general. Words mean things. That's why I'm very careful with how I speak about myself, how I speak about my future, how I speak about my intentions on things. I'm very careful with words that come out of my mouth and the way that things sound. um and so I'm just now starting to understand how powerful affirmations are, because although I do write them down a lot, I'm not really a person that likes to say them. I don't feel comfortable saying affirmations out loud all the time, but I can write them down all the time. So what I took from that lucid dream that I had, me saying those affirmations out loud, and I became whatever I was saying, right? When I started speaking those words, it removed me from a from a whole fucking different world. It showed me how powerful that they really are. And so now I'm like, I need to turn my house into like Mary Jane from being Mary Jane, with fucking sticky notes and affirmations all over my house. And I do need to get in the habit of like saying them. I can't be afraid to like say my affirmations. I can write them down, which is great, but I'm learning that they really truly have power, and I need to get comfortable with saying my affirmations along with writing them down, because words are very powerful, especially adding the intention behind it, and adding the work you actually put behind it. It's very strong. And so yeah, that's what I took. I really had just put that together just now as I was talking from the dream with the affirmations. But yeah, so that was the gist of my day. Very, very interesting day. I'm gonna definitely gonna be up all night because I've slept plenty. um and also, one last thing, like, it is a little bit scary, you know what I'm saying, like, with that lucid dream. It was a strange experience that kind of spooked me out a little bit. um but I'm also like learning not to be afraid of stuff like that as I'm on my spiritual journey, and I'm like learning more about myself. I noticed that I'm like very scared of what I'm capable of. And unfortunately, that's not stopping anything else. That's not stopping things from actually happening. Me being afraid of my spiritual gifts isn't stopping them from improving or revealing themselves. It's not. It's still gonna happen, and I'm just gonna have to, like, adapt at some point. But anyways, I'm done with my little spiritual talk. Okay, I'm about to get into my topics for the day, but very quickly, I'm gonna jump to a commercial break, and I will be right back. Hello, hello, mic check, checkity check. Okay, so now getting into a first official topic for today. So, as I said, this weekend I had to show up. This past week has been show up week. It's been show up week. It's been show up for people that I love, for people that I care about. I've spoken about on this show that I'm not very good with maintaining a lot of different relationships. I'm much better now. Like this year, I've been a lot better with it. But in general, it's like a job, you know, maintaining multiple relationships and trying to show up in a certain way is very hard. It's not easy. And one thing about me, I've always been able to like show up and be there for my loved ones and be there for my friends. Of course, the older you get, the harder it is. But I really had a challenge this last week of back to back showing up, nonstop. Like, I've done for the past week, I've done nothing but show up and do for other people. I've had no time really to myself, to do much for myself. It's been giving to other people, it's been showing up for other people. And I wanted to talk about how important it is, especially for certain milestones. It is very important for you to show up for people. I'm not saying you have to be there for every single thing. You don't have to make it to every single birthday function. You don't have to make it to every single celebration, every single milestone. You're not going to be there. Don't try to be a superhuman. People try to make it seem like when it comes to family or friends that, hey, James, that you have to show up for every single thing. And I promise you, the older you get, the more um things that get added to your life, like the more obstacles you have to face when you have a kid, when you even have a significant other, when you are married, when you have all of these things that you're battling internally. It's naturally going to get harder to show up for your loved ones, and you shouldn't beat yourself up about that. You shouldn't feel bad about it. And honestly, other people should understand. It's a very natural thing that just like the older you get, the harder it's going to be. Yes, you can show up for every single thing when you're fucking in middle school or in high school, because you don't have any responsibilities. You don't have anything you have to worry about, right? For most people, so it's easy to be there for everything. But the older you get, you know, I'll be able to make it to your graduation dinner. I may not be able to make it to your birthday party. You know what I'm saying? I may be able to make it to your birthday party, but I may not be able to make it to your gender reveal or whatever. And as long as you know how to make it up to your loved ones, you know, if you can't be there, that you're able to make it up in some kind of way. That's all that's important. As long as you are not a person that just like, you're invited to all these things and you never show up, you never show your face, you never reach out, you know, that is more so a problem. um but yeah, you're not going to make it every time. I'm not going to make it to everything, sorry. I'm just not. You can do hard things no matter how hard it is, for sure. um you're not going to make it to everything, and I'm not going to be made to like feel bad about it either, especially when I know my intentions, especially during certain seasons. Like right now, it is graduation season, right? So if you have someone who just can't seem to make it to your graduation because they have two other graduations they may need to go to, or if they have a bunch of other people that they, you know, that they still have to support, you have to, you know, meet people in the middle somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And I just was like, this past week, I was like, fuck, I'm so proud of myself for showing up back to back like this, because it takes a lot out of me. Like, people don't understand, not to get too deep in my spiritual bag again, but as a spiritual person, I realized that something was like going on with me, or like there was something going on with me when I'm in the military. So we have like a 2 week training, and I actually talked about it on an episode here. Um, I don't remember the episode title, but I talked about it here, where I every single year, every summer, where I would have that training where I have to be in barracks with a bunch of bitches, and you know, eat, sleep, shit, and train and work with these people. I'm hearing so many different conversations. I'm dealing with so many different energies, so many different opinions, so many different things going on. I wouldn't be like not that much of a kind person during these training periods, right? Because it was just too much that I was absorbing. And at that time, I didn't know how to ground myself. I didn't know anything about cleansing my energy. I didn't know nothing about that. And so I was so confused as to why every time, for most people, when we had these annual trainings, they looked at it like a vacation, right? They was like, oh, yes, we're going to go work and train, but when we get off, we're going to get drunk and we're going to party and we're going to stay up all night. Most people looked at it like it was fun, like a getaway. And in a way it kind of was. Um but for me, it was always like, I'm going to be miserable not even halfway into this, and I'm going to come home feeling so drained, like, and feeling like not myself. Yes, I'm telling you, AT. Okay, so it's not just me. So Sterling, it feels the same way. AT is like terrible. It's so bad. But again, it is, don't get me wrong, it is fun. We get to get drunk and, you know, do whatever. It's a lot, you know, looser than when we, you know, work at home and stuff like that. But like, again, for people that are just like very, like, have very sensitive energy and stuff like that, we have to, is that's why it's so important for us to know how to ground ourselves and how to reset and cleanse. And that was honestly the beginning of my spiritual journey. I had went in to see, I went and had a Reiki session for the first time after that, because I was just like, I need, something's off here. Like, I'm so off and I don't know why. And that was the beginning of my spiritual journey, and just learning more and uncovering things about myself and learning how to ground myself, how to be picky with my energy, how to cleanse my energy. Um, and so yeah, that was very interesting for me. So with that being said, kind of going back to the main topic, um, that's why me showing up for people, like, that's why I'm not gonna come to everything. I'm not. Like, I'm good on social interaction right now for like at least 2 weeks, because I've been around too many people, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't anything bad. Like, it was a lot of good experiences. I've seen so many people I haven't seen in years. It's just been so many different people from different areas of my life, celebrating people for different things. I've been giving and pouring out to so many people, well deserved, right? Um, but like, well, yeah, fond of sons. Stream is social though. Yes, it is, but I'm more so talking about like physically, like being around people in person, talking to people in person. Because even on this, what I'm doing now, it's a limit on this. I'm not streaming longer than an hour. You know what I'm saying? So I still have my limits. But so yeah, even in that, that's why me showing, I'm not gonna show up to everything because I am so picky with my energy, and I know when my bar is up, and my bar is up right now. So I'm sorry if anyone, there's any more graduations, any more celebrations. I'm gonna have to, you know what I'm saying? I just need a minute to just get my energy back in line before I can, because I've been pouring so much out to other people. I need my cup filled now before I can go back out and show up and be there. I have a limit. Some people don't have a limit to how much they pour into others, which is why you're always left so empty and drained and depressed. So you could look at me like I'm selfish and I'm a bitch, but it's not that I don't want to be supportive or I don't want to be there for people. It's that I have my fucking limits. And I know when I'm maxed out, and a lot of y'all don't acknowledge or know when you're maxed out. And that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. Just saying. Sometimes you just have to pour that energy back into yourself. Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm doing. That's why I'm like, I don't need it from other people. I need time. When people are like, I just can't even hear myself think. I just need time to hear myself think. Like, let me just, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, um, that's what I realized this week. But I wanted to move on to the next topic. I'm going to play another commercial for you guys. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. On my main YouTube channel at It's Your Girl Asia. All right, now back to the show. Hello, hello, hello. Just to let you guys know, I did not do an episode of my thought or more thoughts no one asked for this Monday because, like I said, I had a busy week and I know my limits, so I didn't do a stream. Okay. But I will this upcoming Monday. I most definitely will. Make sure you join the Discord. Discord. Also, I will let you guys know that I'm doing tarot readings. I'm not gonna do one tonight because again, I know my limits. I just need the weekend to kind of reset. But I will follow me on just join the Discord. Okay. If you want to know when I'm literally doing anything when I'm going live outside of this main show, join the Discord because I'm letting you guys know I will be doing more content. Y'all will see my face a whole lot more. So prepare to get annoyed. All right. But so yeah, just letting you guys know that. Alrighty. So moving on to the next topic. So I'm gonna tell you what made me think of this, right? So there's this person in my life who doesn't really acknowledge things that I say. And what I mean by that is I could tell them that the sky is blue and they will purposefully make it seem like the sky isn't blue. Hey King. They will make it seem like the sky isn't blue. They will act like I don't know what I'm talking about. They will dismiss it, or they have like a very much so know it all type of energy. And I don't know if it has anything to do with my age or if they kind of think, oh, well, she can't tell me nothing. She's too young. She don't know shit about shit. And I don't trust, don't get me wrong. I don't walk around acting like I know everything or trying to school people or preach at people. I don't. But it's like naturally when you're having a conversation with someone, you want them, whether they disagree with you or not, you want them to acknowledge what you're saying. You don't want to say something and then feel like they're just listening to just say whatever they want to say, not even respond to you. Just like being somewhat dismissive, maybe not intentionally, but just more so like they could be a bit self-centered or whatever, right? And I was thinking about this, like, yeah, this person really does not care to take my advice. They don't care to like really listen to what I have to say on things. But don't get me wrong, we can have plenty of conversations. They're very funny, they're very helpful, right? They can, help me with a lot of different things. They're just not a very good listener. And I was thinking about it and I was like, honestly, I'm not really bothered by it, right? Because they make up for it in other areas, right? They make up for it in other areas, and I realize I don't need to get everything I need out of one person. That's impossible. You can have one person in your life that lacks in a certain area, and you could try to make them not lack in that certain area to please you. When it's like, if this person in your life isn't a great listener, right? You can either choose to just not have them in your life, or you could choose to pour more into the positives about that person and get whatever you're missing from that person from someone else, right? So this person isn't a very good listener, but I know plenty of people that are. You know what I'm saying? My mom is. My mom's a great listener. I can talk to her about anything and she will take it, she will digest it, and a lot of the time she will even take my advice, right? She acknowledges me and things that I say. Whether she agrees with it or not, she takes things into consideration and she's a very good listener. you know? And so it doesn't mean that just because this other person in my life isn't a good listener that I have to cut them off, because it's, especially if I don't feel like it's malicious or intentional, um or them trying to be nasty to me. I just know it's like their own character flaw that they'll have to eventually work through and process on their own. I don't have to do that for them. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to like interrupt their improvement process, or self improvement process for them. That's something that they can learn on their own. Um, the power in knowing how to pick and choose your battles is so important, because I'm like, before I even thought to make it a problem, I'm like, oh, well, I actually don't need that from you. Like, we can very much so still have a relationship where you actually don't have to really listen to things that I say. Like, you don't have to. I can get that from other people. And so I realized with all relationships in my life that I don't have to get everything that I need out of one person. One person doesn't have to be a super good communicator, the best friend in the world, show up all the time, uh fucking does all the right things, helps me with everything that I need, answers the phone every time I pick up. Like, all this like checklist that we usually have for people in our lives, where we want the idea of the perfect friend or the perfect romantic partner, and we want them to check all of these boxes. And of course there are some boxes that, like, if they're not checked, it's going to be a very, like, a real problem. Like, I even talked about episodes ago about like dealing with liars, right? And how most people would be like, oh, well, if you have someone in your life who's a liar, then like you shouldn't talk to them, you shouldn't be with them. And it's like, well, there are certain cases where you just know they're not really a malicious person, but okay, if you have someone in your life who's a liar that you necessarily don't want to remove out of your life, that you just know either not to tell them certain things about you, or you know how to navigate that person. You know when they're lying. You can pick up on when they're lying, and you kind of just like pick your battles. So it's kind of stuff like that where I've learned with all of my relationships, romantic, family, friendships, I don't need a one size fits all. That's actually somewhat impossible, right? To look for in a relationship where it's a one size fits all. Like, this person is essentially perfect, right? Your idea of a perfect friend, a perfect family member, a perfect partner, romantic partner, they just do everything right. It's very much so okay for someone in your life to lack in a certain area that maybe may feel uneasy to you, and for you to still maintain a relationship with them. Once you think of it in a way of like, there's a person in your life who isn't the best communicator. They might be a bit too harsh with things, right? They're a bit too harsh. They don't really know how to, not sugarcoat, but say things in better ways, right? They might be a bit too harsh. So when you're having conversations and you just want to have a normal conversation without it being any like intense energy or it turning into a debate, that could be a problem for you, right? But there's still a way for you to modify that relationship without it being without you guys no longer being each other's lives. You can have make sure you have other people in your life who do communicate in a way that's a lot more healthy for you, that reflects your, communication style a lot better, and lean more on those people. So when you want to have those conversations that you would normally have with that person who's not, whose delivery isn't the best, go to the people who do in your life who do have better delivery, so you can make sure that that part of you is filled without trying to make this person feel that for you. They may not be in a place in their life where they can do that. They may not understand how to. And it takes a lot more out of you to like make them do that for you for your own selfish reason, versus like you have plenty of other people in your life that have much better delivery. Go talk to them. Go have those conversations with them. And once you view all your relationships like that, it'll make things a lot easier, and that way you're not just cutting off people just because it's one little thing that you don't like, right? Something that bothers you about that person, it might not be an issue for other people in their lives. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, learn how to modify your relationships in a way where you get everything you need, but realizing you can get them from other people. Your relationships aren't a one size fits all. It just doesn't work like that. So think about it like that before you make it a problem with someone and be like, you know what? It's fine that your delivery is a bit harsh, because there are other people they can talk to that can identify with that type of communication style. So let people be how they are, and whatever, department someone lacks in, just go find other people to fill that for you. It's that simple. Even if in romantic situations, like um for example, like someone I'm talking to right now, I'm going to call him New Boy. So, New Boy, he doesn't know anything about social media, right? He doesn't know anything about social media. He doesn't, well, let me not say that. That's a bit dramatic. He doesn't know anything about what I'm doing on the internet. He knows about streaming and stuff, but like he doesn't like have an Instagram or whatever. He's not really tapped in with like content world. He lives more in like the real world, like he has a real, man job, and he's more focused on like real life shit. So when I started talking to him, like explaining to him what I do and everything, of course he doesn't really understand this shit, right? He doesn't really get what I'm doing. And that's fine, right? Now for some people, they want a romantic relationship where they can talk to their partner about whatever they do for a living and they understand it, and they kind of want to involve them in certain ways. And I do understand that, but for me, when I was like, damn, he don't really understand. Because I'm coming from a previous situation where someone I was talking to, he was like helping me like a lot, like giving me a lot of tips and stuff like that, and really helping me through the entire process. He totally understood what I was doing. He was kind of in the same world. I'm used to dating people who are in the same creative world as me. So it's so easy to talk about. Um, but for him, he just doesn't, this ain't his world. He don't know shit. And that's fine. Cause guess what? Guess what? I have other friends. I have other friends I can talk to that do know about this shit. You know what I'm saying? I can talk to you guys. Like I can talk to other people about it and get that from someone else instead of trying to make him understand this. It's just not his world. And that's fine. I can go talk to other people, and I'm not saying like I can go talk to other people romantically, just because it's not his world. No, I mean like other friends, filling that cup in other ways where it's not like I'm just gonna cut him off or go, fuck with someone else who is interested in what I'm doing. I can maintain that relationship and go find a platonic, you know, relationship that can fulfill that area of my life for me, so I can, maintain all relationships in a healthy way. So, anyways, I thought that was very interesting. Um, but yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and play one last, yeah, one last quick, very quick commercial, and then we're gonna yap about Drake. We're gonna yap about Drake and his albums. Let me read some comments. What you think about everybody going to Kick, for example, DDG and Deshae and Ben the Don? I didn't know that they all went to Kick. I think some other like Love Island person went to Kick too. I mean, what am I supposed to think? They are clearly all like, getting paid to go over there. Like they clearly all getting paid handsomely to go over there. So I don't know. I'm not a Kick person. Kick feels very incel-y to me. I don't know if it's because of like when Aiden went over there, it just kind of like turned me off to the whole idea of Kick. I don't know. I'm so open to changing my mind, but I really don't care to be honest, but that's good for them. I like Twitch. It's comfortable for me. I just like not a Kick person. It's just so awkward for me. But we'll see. I don't know. Um, or you can allow him into your world so he can know a little bit more. Yes, for sure. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna force it. You know what I'm saying? Only if he wants to. Like he knows when I'm streaming. Like, you know what I'm saying? I tell him when I'm streaming, he asks about it. He'll ask like what I'm talking about and stuff. But I don't really need to like bring him on stream or, really involve him in it. The most he did was like help me, set up with my streaming setup and mount my TV and stuff like that. But I don't need to make him understand it. If he wants to, I'll, do that in certain ways. But yeah, quick commercial break and then we're gonna yap about Drake. And y'all can go ahead and comment and tell me what you guys thought about any of Drake's albums. If you didn't listen, if you don't give a fuck about Drake, let me know. For all my audio podcast listeners, you can now listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Substack. So if you'd rather just hear me and not see me, head over to your preferred podcast app, search My Thoughts No One Asked For, and listen now. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, very quickly. um, First of all, did anybody in the chat, did y'all listen to Drake's album? Any of them? I wanted to start off by saying this when it comes to Drake. Both he and his fans, but more intensely his fans, have this very much so like they're still very stained from the battle, and they feel like, oh, y'all was on Kendrick's side, like stay on that side or whatever. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, are we serious? I think stands are very unserious. Stands are not meant to be taken seriously as people or as a collective. I think in certain ways, like when it comes to stand culture, it's very informative because only a Drake stan will be able to tell you when certain albums dropped and what songs were on what album and their numbers and their stats. They can provide you with factual information that you just as a casual fan wouldn't know. And for that, when it comes to stan culture, I appreciate it. The other like very obsessive, parasocial, weird energy surrounding it, very obsessive, is so unhealthy. And I really don't think stans are meant to be taken seriously, to be honest. But anyway, that's besides the point. Um, Yeah, I think there's a lot of like post album conversations that are a bit strange when it comes to Drake. Me personally, I don't know about y'all. I definitely grew up listening to the man, so I wasn't gonna stop listening to Drake after the battle. He lost. I was waiting for new music, and I'm very pleased with all of it, honestly. So not really gonna get into an album review here, but I more so wanted to talk about um people's expectations of Drake. Something that was very fucking annoying that I seen a lot. People were annoyed that Drake had a lot of disses, like was responding to a lot of the things from the battle. People were mad that Drake was responding to everything from the battle, like Kendrick, and like dissing a bunch of people. And it's like, dude, the man lost. He lost so badly. We got to hear a conclusion from Kendrick, from Cole, Cole then went and did all these interviews. We got to hear from everybody else. Why can't the man respond to everyone when he lost? Like, he was lost. He lost. He's been quiet for so long. Let the man respond. That's what you're supposed to do in music, right? Like, at least the man, puts it in some bars and responds to people. Um, so yeah, I felt like he executed everything much better than he actually did during the battle, like with this album. I think I think that Iceman was a beautiful conclusion to the like big three saga or the whole battle of itself, even though the fans will continue the aftermath of this battle for a very, very long time, unfortunately. I felt like all the shit that he had to say, he said it, and he said it well to me. Some people didn't like certain things, but I just thought I was very shocked that people weren't bothered. That like, oh, we don't want to hear you respond to everything that happened. Da, da, da. It's old, blah 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 blah. And it's like, hello, that's what he's supposed to do. He lost. It's his turn now. We heard from everyone else. Let him talk. And I'm not even a Drake stan. I'm just saying like, why shouldn't he do that? Why is that a bad thing for him to do that? So I feel like that was fine. But yeah, I just thought there was a lot of conversations around it that was weird. Of course, there was people that was hating on it just to hate, and I saw that too. I saw like the people that are like dedicated to hating Drake, just hating the album, hate listening, shitting on it. And there's also like a very weird high expectation of Drake to evolve, and I understand it. I do, because of the type of artist and the type of rapper that he is. However, you have people like Future. There's plenty of rappers that get to just have a very long lasting career by being mediocre and by doing the same thing. And I think that there are certain things about Drake that people think are repetitive and they're annoyed by it, which is fine. And there are some people that enjoy certain repetitive things about Drake. Like, I think as a collective generally, like, we all kind of, at least we used to, like his pettiness, right? That's a trait about him as an artist that you will hear consistently throughout his career. And so now he's been making music for well over a decade, and he's so him being petty now, current day, people are acting like they're tired of it, and it's fine. Some people may genuinely be tired of it. I think it's okay for people to be annoyed by it and for some people to appreciate it, because that's kind of what keeps you going back. Kind of like how, Wayne has his light, his lighter flicker and stuff like that. Like, there's those kind of things that when they are pop up all throughout someone's career. Me personally, I appreciate certain things, but there are some people who are fans even who are like, all right, I'm over this. Like, we want something else. We want to hear, you know, a more mature and, grown version of this artist that we love. And I think that's understandable as well. I just think everyone can like what they want to like, not like what they don't like. I don't know. But the albums, I liked all the albums. I didn't like all the songs though. Of course, there were some songs I didn't really care for, but I genuinely liked all the albums. They were cool. Sterling said the album was in my opinion, but that's because I'm used to the old Drake. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people agreed with that. A lot of people had that same opinion, um, which is understandable. But I was, someone who's like appreciative of this version of Drake, especially in the battle sense. I felt like he made good songs and he rapped really well. But there are some people that disagree with that, and that's okay. That is all right. Um, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. I didn't really have like a full in-depth review. I'm not like whatever. So I'm pretty much done with this episode. I really enjoyed this episode. It was very, very fun, very great. So thank you guys for joining. Make sure you join me next week for the 40th episode. Live at 7 p.m. Follow me on all my social media platforms. Click that link tree Join the motherfucking Discord, please and thank you. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.